Hello, I just thought I'd give you a bit of an update on my chronic fatigue syndrome symptoms and where I'm up to in terms of which consultants I'm seeing and the feedback that I've had on the NHS, so the UK health system. Basically, I eventually had a referral to a chronic fatigue syndrome specialist working in the Surrey area outside of London. Um, I had to go privately because his waiting list was so long on the NHS. Not that I have the money to do that, but it was worth, the 200 odd quid, 250 quid that it cost me to do that just to get seen in a couple of weeks rather than about 5 months. Considering I've had symptoms for about 7 years, I just can't wait another 4 months. Um, so yeah, I had a really good chat, and the consultant took me through, asked me a lot of questions in 30 minutes, and really get into to understand what it could be and what it couldn't be. And there are a number of indicators that chronic fatigue syndrome people or patients have. I think there are about 12 or 14 indicators, and you have to have about 8 of those to qualify as having the syndrome, because being diagnosed is a clinical decision rather than necessarily being able to see on paper exactly that it is chronic fatigue. I actually had about 4 or 5 of these indicators rather than 8. So some of the things that I don't get is the post-malaise after exercise. Actually, exercise for me is the only thing that makes me feel a little bit better during the day. And I don't feel any particularly worse the following day or a few days afterwards that I know people with CFS do get. Um, to be honest, I've forgotten what the other things, the main things were, but essentially I have low energy all the time. Um, I have really strong brain fog, so I really don't have problems thinking generally, but also recalling the right words. Facts and figures is really difficult and just really inhibits me a lot throughout my day and week. But yeah, basically he said to me, I don't think it's CFS. So kind of initially I was disappointed because it had been helpful to know what the fuck it is. But at the same time, it's good that it isn't that, because it's still a condition that's trying to be understood. They're still trying to understand exactly what it's caused by and what the treatment is. So I think that's a really good thing. But on the flip side, I'm still no further ahead with understanding what my diagnosis is. So yeah, at the moment I get IBS, just really fatigue, and fatigue is not. It sounds a bit shit. It just sounds like you're a bit tired, but actually what that means is feel like shit every day. Waking up, never feeling good, never feeling refreshed from sleep. The way I've described it to some people is basically feels like I've had a hangover for the last 7 years. You can get through the day, but it's fucking hard work. Everything is a push, to go to social things. You want to see your friends, you want to see your family, but at the same time, it's going to really test you, and actually you'll be looking to leave and just have a bit of a rest afterwards because it was tiring. Yeah, the brain fog is the big thing. I had head pressure as well. Feels like a clamp is around your head a lot of the time, and I get sore eyes. I don't think this is in my head, but I always feel like there's kind of bags under my eyes all the time, and I've known in the past when I do feel better, I don't have these bags. So yeah, it just kind of leads me on to where do we go next. So I thought actually maybe a gastroenterologist might be a next step. So the NHS waiting list, so the free health service in the UK, has a ridiculously long waiting list, as I've had for everything else that I've tried to see. So again, I'm gonna have to try and go privately. So I found a consultant who specialises in IBS symptoms, and I've actually been reading up a little bit in terms of other things that could be outside of IBS. So I do have, loose stools and all the stuff that you get with IBS, but it could be something called SIBO, which is small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, and that's something where you've got basically too much bacteria in your small intestine, and you can use antibiotics to treat that. It sounds like fairly simply, although it can come back. There's also something called bile acid malabsorption, and I gather a gastroenterologist can look at that and see whether I would have either of those things that I can rule out. If it is IBS, apparently there are different types of IBS, so it'd be good to know which one I have, and I can treat that in a suitable way. So basically, I found that in the past I've trusted GPs who have said, yes, you've got IBS, but they hadn't asked me for any stool samples. They hadn't referred me on to gastroenterologists, and I just took them at the word when they said I had IBS, and I just got to deal with it. And I think recently I've decided, or I've realised, GPs are by their nature general, and they don't know everything, and I understand that they're only people, but it does mean that I have trusted what has been told to me in the past, and that isn't really good enough. That I should have really, I've got to take my health into my own hands and deal with it, and push people until I get to refer to the right people. And I'm reading up a lot, I'm watching YouTube blogs, I'm reading articles, I'm just doing a lot more of my own work and pushing the people I see to say, what if it's this, what if it's that, can you test me this is why I want to be tested for this and not that. So I'm seeing a gastroenterologist this week, just have an initial consultation, and then we'll see how we go. I'm fully prepared to have an endoscopy, or I forgot the other one, but basically they can put some wires in some things up your bum and a few other places, I believe, and just see what's going on in the colon, in the bowel, in the small and large intestine, to just understand whether there's inflammation, what's going on, and hopefully they can pinpoint a bit more about what I've got and potentially what I've not got. So I'm kind of hopeful that I'm pushing forwards with it, and there's somewhere to go, and it's just not a dead end. I think maybe 6 months to a year ago I felt completely hopeless, and I felt that I had something that no one knew what it was, hadn't seen it before, and didn't know how to treat it. And so, I know that sounds ridiculous now, but I honestly was just hitting a brick wall every time I saw a GP, and they just weren't giving me anything more. And it's only, I'd say, because I've seen the CFS consultant, who's an immunologist, has given me a bit of faith in terms of, let's try this, let's test that, and I've just not had that from the GP. So what I would say is, if you've not had the right had much feedback from your GP, push them, or see another GP, or look at your symptoms and say, right, okay, I've got IBS, let's see a gastroenterologist. I've got chronic fatigue, let's see an immunologist. If I've seen both of these people, why don't you see a neurologist? And just keep pushing the GP, because I just don't think anyone should be happy with living life feeling like shit every day and there's nothing you can do about it, because I'm coming to believe that that's not the case. So yeah, I just thought I'd give you that update, and any comments or questions, just let me know. So yeah, bye bye.